All right. Well, we've got a Legend Motorsports block here with some Maple Racing goodies. So right here is my oil filler neck with this dash 10 is going to go over to the catch can right here. It's going to be one of these lines. And you guys can kind of see, I was going to do it over here originally, and it really kind of makes sense because I have my dipstick, filter, and fill all right next to each other. And then this spot would have been unused otherwise. So we've got these fittings here, the new wire harness stuff. So that should all work out pretty well. And it just frees up a little bit more front room here. I'm going to take this off right now. I'm going to flip this fitting around this way so these fittings can go back down around near the power steering lines and AC stuff. And so these two will come together down underneath, over, and then to here. So instead of having anything more in the front of the section here for the vehicle, I think that's the better approach. So we're not going to end up using this module just in case we still keeping it. This is the power steering speed sensing module. So get to clear up that part. Then I've got the new enclosure that's going to cover up right here. Maple Racing did that for me. It's all powder coated as well. You can see kind of this beautiful bronze. And everything in this thing is new, like new dipstick. We've got this map line. Everything over here is going to be routed a particular way. It is by no means easy to work on, but once assembled, realistically, these cars shouldn't need to be touched except for spark plugs, which with this single 2 alpha lock here and here, from this elbow with the other map sensor port and the air temp sensor post intercooler, it should be pretty easy to get to the plugs. I mean, of course, the power steering is kind of in the way, the AC is kind of in the way, but realistically, that's not that bad. Coils are up here. These are for CDI for the Fuel Tech CDI they've had in this car for a long time. It's the Gen 2 750 millijoule box. And maintenance-wise, really all it's going to need changing is add oil, which is easier than factory. Change filter, easy. Adjust fuel pressure, easy. Of course, inspect for any leaks. There's all millions of sensors on this whole car, but besides that, most of the lines are going to be kind of out of the way. I'm debating on running these really low near where I have the oil cooler stuff, and then seeing how long this has taken to get everything done with the wire harness, I might just redo the oil cooling configuration entirely. What I mean by that is, by the way, I need to give Ryan back his wheels. So I've got the fuel cooler, the power steering cooler, and the dual oil coolers all here. Everything's tightened up, ready to go. The turbo inlet, 18-inch long, 6-inch diameter pipe, which goes all the way routed around into here, underneath the V-mount, directly to the turbo. Turbo gets fresh air, filtered. Again, it's a G42 1200 compact, beautifully powder coated. And then down there you can see drive-by-wire for anti-surge. Now that's going to dump straight down. Shameless plug. So that's going to dump straight down. We've got the actuating solenoid here for the secondary throttle blades off of this vacuum solenoid. Got our DC power alternator. We got 2 small fans, standard brush style, that fit underneath the hood line really nicely. That's going to extract air up and out of this hood vent. We've got my OPR and turbo oil filter And there's the line. I'm going to change this out to a straight fitting or maybe a 30-degree. That'll make it even nicer. So it'll go right there, feeds right off the front of the block. And on the Mac solenoid stuff, we've got dual 3-port Mac solenoids. And instead of running this Kevlar line here, this stuff's good to about 500 degrees, but because all these are in between here, you guys can see that, that's not an ideal location. So what we're going to do instead is I've got all the hardline stuff right here underneath the car. And so I've got -4 hardline that I'm going to end up doing. And we'll have turbo source go to these two. And they're going to have a Y fitting between. You can see how this Y fitting is right here. This will go here. This will go here. I might bring the solenoids together so it's more compact in a singular location. And because I have the reservoir here, you know, that's why I had that one there. You know, still serviceable, still easy to look at. But if I bring these both directly together, and then I take all the hard lines from them, and it looks like an original, like ABS unit style. So you have, let's see, minimum, you should have 6 lines going out to the wastegates. So because not all of them are shared, we will have top, bottom, top, bottom. So it might only be 4 or 5. But yeah, there has to be a shared one, and I might leave that one carbon Kevlar just for ease of access, and it already comes out really nicely from the turbo. So running a hard line off this is always a bad idea. So anyways, that will be sorted next. Just that oil filler cap that I showed you guys. And everything else is done for the most part. Fuel system's reimagined and figured out. It's all bigger than it ever was, which is cool. So it's -10 to dual -8 to 8 return. And we have a really bitchin' beautiful engine bay. So it is just, how do we say it, 20 gallons of shit in a 5-gallon bucket. So trying to make it look aesthetically pleasing and have all this functionality is difficult. It's just one of those things. You want to have it all, but you also want to do things for certain feel. So like the power steering of the FC was, in my opinion, the best power steering I've ever felt. So that was something where I'm like, okay, I want my car to have this, and I don't care what the car is. And eventually it was like, oh, this first gen popped up. Love the interior. I'm like, cool, I've got a favorite interior, favorite power steering. We've got something that makes sense now. Rotary engines. Oh shit, this is kind of cool. I guess we'll do rotary engines. This is fun. So all these things made a culmination together and kind of worked out. And I guess you can see, did some heat shielding up here, which I've got a whole bunch of this stuff. I might use more of, I don't know, any of it wherever. And then I might end up doing more custom lines for like this to somehow be shorter or better routed. AC really can't do much about it. You guys can see I did all my plumbing to here. Did my plumbing for the heater core, which is all insulated. I just hope it all works. That's really what it comes down to. I've got plumbing here to the oil in the rear, and that goes out and splits here to the coolers. And we've got another one to the coolers here. So everything that I could make parallel instead of series, I did. It just better overall efficiency. We've got the new non-leaking Chase Bays reservoir. Got a beautiful clutch master with its hard line out to the slave cylinder. This bracket was supposed to be reinforcement for the intake manifold, but because this is the oversized 270 amp alternator, everything was tight. The CX Racing also moves the intake manifold over here about 3/4 of an inch, so every single possible thing got tighter. But, you know, we live and learn. We make it work. So, at this point, I'm exhausted. You guys know me, I'm a workaholic. I've been banging out car after car. So, at some point, it'll be my turn. And, gonna have this beast come to life and show you guys what's up. So I think the preliminary power limitations for this thing right now are going to be somewhere around 850 wheel. I'm not going to hold my breath or count my blessings or do any bullshit like that. It's just considering what I've done with other cars with much, much, much less, this has the potential to have far more torque output, the drivability from the secondary throttle blade here, and it's just overall we might have a package to where this big turbo comes online early, the response is great, the drivability is great, and then thankfully, because the turbo is larger and the torque, I mean, it's still going to hit extremely hard, but the torque comes in at a more reasonable RPM, it might not completely blow the tires off in every gear. So we're going to do a bunch of strategies with the 3-port solenoids over there, and this vehicle is going to be fully modeled in the traction modeling of M-tron. So it's going to be something that you guys have probably never seen from Rotaries, and the people behind me on this are brilliant. The way they understand the true EFI operations and such, it's just not what you guys are used to. It's not copy and paste tuning at all. So I'm going to open up a whole video series on the advanced EFI stuff that really breaks down, like, what are you actually tuning for? And, like, are you looking at this? If your answer is fuel, you're doing it wrong. And, you know, it really comes down to feeding your engines what they want to be happy. And we have airflow, and airflow is, you know, optimizing this air pump and so on and so forth. But anyways, I'm exhausted, you guys can tell. So I'll leave this here, a little build update, and I will get back to work when the wire harness comes in.